Sony, Funcom, OnLive and PopCap were all hit by layoffs, studio closures and reshuffling in a week which also included updates on the film adaptations of both Gears of War and Uncharted. Peter Molyneux's big comeback is delayed, Borderlands gets a demake, and that Scott Pilgrim DLC has been pushed back even further. We get a new look at Grand Theft Auto 5, Green Day joins Angry Birds, Australia designs a new Transformers character, and Dance Central 3 gets you moving, all in this week's edition of Player Attack. Hi, I'm Jessica Citizen. It's been a pretty terrible week for jobs in the games industry, with studio closures and mass layoffs all over the place. One of the biggest names to go is Sony's studio Liverpool, creators of Wipeout and Colony Wars. The developer was a victim of one of Sony's regular reviews, where the company decided to make some changes to its European studios, which saw Liverpool's head on the block. It's the end of an era. Studio Liverpool was founded as Psygnosis back in 1984 and was the publisher of the original Lemmings. Acquired by Sony in 1993, the latest game from the developer was Wipeout 2048 for PlayStation Vita, released earlier this year. On the same note, but less surprising, Funcom, developer of The Secret World, has laid off around 50% of its staff after its new MMO enjoyed a less than stellar launch. While perhaps slightly larger than anticipated, these cuts were somewhat expected. The developer applied similar staffing cuts following the release of Age of Conan, before rehiring many former employees to work on the game's expansion packs. A spokesperson has explained that these job cuts are a temporary cost-cutting measure, and Funcom hopes to rehire many lost staff in the future. Also closing its doors and then reopening them was OnLive. 2 weeks ago, the cloud gaming company reportedly owed between $30 and $40 million. Today, it doesn't, thanks to some fancy footwork. OnLive brought in the administrators, declared insolvency, and was sold to a new company, also called OnLive. This assignment for the benefit of creditors is an alternative to bankruptcy, and while it means the company's services can continue, it did result in the loss of a number of jobs. And the hits keep coming. Fans scoffed as Duke Nukem creator George Broussard tweeted that Casual King PopCap Games was in trouble, facing shakeups and layoffs. Just 2 days later, PopCap co-founder John Vecchi confirmed the rumours, announcing significant job cuts as well as doubts over the future of PopCap's Dublin studio. From a total of around 300 employees, roughly 50 North American jobs have gone, but thanks to an aggressive hiring strategy which has seen people picked up with different skill sets, the company will end 2012 with roughly the same number of employees as it started with. To temper that bad news, PopCap also offered us something to look forward to, an official sequel for Plants vs. Zombies, due out in the North American spring of 2013. While the seeds for the game are germinating, we don't really know anything about it. We don't know if it will retain the original's tower defense style, or if perhaps this is the multiplayer shooter that we keep hearing whispers about. What we do know, it will have plants and zombies, and that's all that matters. There was more sad news for movie buffs this week, with the news that Top Gun director Tony Scott had taken his own life at the age of 68. Scott had spent recent years directing Unstoppable, Domino and The Taking of Pelham 123, making a name for himself in the popcorn action genre, but news has come to light that he'd also tried to snag a video game tie-in as well, the cinematic release of Gears of War. Reportedly, Scott went all out in a video presentation to Epic Games and New Line Cinemas, but unfortunately things didn't work out. Now we're left wondering what could have been if the mind behind True Romance, Crimson Tide and The Last Boy Scout really had gotten his hands on the bromance between Marcus and Dom. Another bit of movie news, not quite so sad, comes from Sony, who reports that the film tie-in for the Uncharted franchise is currently directionless, but it has a great writing team. Marianne and Cormac Wibberley, the husband and wife pair behind Disney's National Treasure franchise, have signed up to the movie, but Limitless director Neil Berger has left. Three Kings director David O. Russell was signed up earlier, but left, came back, and left again last year. The official statement from the project is that they will wait until the Wibberleys have finished their script before trying to find someone else to fill the director's chair. Molyneux's fabled comeback, which was scheduled for this week. Curiosity is the first project from new studio 22 Cans, and it was due out on August 22nd. But, as you may have suspected, it didn't happen, with the game now pushed back to September. Curiosity features a large black cube. Your job is to chip away at the monolith by tapping on it until it breaks open. Nobody knows just what's inside, but Molyneux is promising something absolutely unique. One thing that wasn't unique was the single word name he chose for his new game. It unfortunately shares a title with a certain Martian spaceship, which has been all over the news in recent weeks. While NASA has apparently expressed no ill will against the UK developer, Molyneux has come to the realisation that nobody can find his game on internet search engines, as all terms lead to Mars. Now he's searching for a new name, and if you think you've got the perfect one, you can hit up the 22 Cans Twitter account to share your thoughts. A few quick things now. If you're hanging out for Borderlands 2 to hit shelves in September, Gearbox has put together something to keep you busy. It's a retro-styled 16-bit demake of the original game titled The Borderlands. It boasts a top-down apocalyptic wasteland setting with plenty of baddies to dispatch and even more loot to be picked up. Did we mention it's free and playable in your browser right now? Meanwhile, you've been waiting 2 years for Scott Pilgrim vs. the World to receive online multiplayer DLC, and now you'll have to wait another month or two as Ubisoft has pushed the pack's release date back into the North American autumn. Still, you'll get your hands on both of those games well before Grand Theft Auto 5, but Rockstar has given us a brand new glimpse of the new-look Liberty City. Of course, the publisher is keeping tight-lipped, so while we've seen a bunch of scenes from the upcoming release, we're still left wanting more. Punk rockers Green Day have signed up with Rovio to star in an upcoming musical episode of Angry Birds Friends, the Facebook-only version of the super popular casual game. The 3 band members feature in the title as all new Bad Pig characters. There are 10 never-before-seen levels, and 2 new songs are available via in-game download. The first Australian state or territory has confirmed that it will be selling R18 adult rating games from January next year, with the Australian Capital Territory passing the appropriate legislation with tripartisan support. The remaining 6 states and territories are hoped to follow suit in the next 4 months before federal legislation kicks in on January 1st. And sticking with Australia for a moment, the world's first Transformers character created by fans has emerged from the land down under. Based on an iconic model car, a series of Facebook polls has resulted in an Autobot Falcon XR6 turbo sedan coloured Ford blue. His name is Falcatron, and he's been drawn out by Transformers Fall of Cybertron developer High Moon Studios to mark the game's recent launch for PC, Xbox 360 and PS3. And finally this week, something a little bit different to offset some of the doom and gloom we've been faced with. This is the opening cinematic from Dance Central 3, heading our way shortly from Harmonix.
Haha, let's get this party started!
Welcome to Dance Central 3.
Reflecting the in-game diversity, the tunes for Dance Central 3 have been plucked from the 70s, 80s, 90s and today, and even include a taste of K-pop, with 2NE1 confirmed alongside LMFAO, Vanilla Ice and The Village People, with more reportedly on the way. For the full version of those trailers, or for more information on any of these stories, head to playerattack.com. I'm Jessica Citizen. We'll see you next week.